Now we are seeing about the planets. We know that we have terrestrial planets, that is the planets which are towards the sun, in the between the sun and the asteroid belt. So we have asteroid belt as well, right? They are called as terrestrial planets because they are solid, whereas we have Jovian planets or Jupiter like planets, and they are mostly gaseous planets. So we have Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, right? So till Mars we have the Earth like planets, are called as the terrestrial planets. Terrestrial planets are Earth-like planets, whereas we have the Jovian planets. The Jovian planets are nothing but the Jupiter-like planets. So Jovian planets are Jupiter-like planets. Now, the gaseous planets are having gas. That is why they are lighter. Lighter elements easily swept away by the solar winds in the terrestrial planets. But the solar winds are not power enough to sweep away the gases of the gaseous planets. Now, Jupiter is having hydrogen gas, metallic hydrogen, and a very small core. But Earth are a rocky planets. That is why we call them as the terrestrial planets or rocky planets. They are more near to the sun. Therefore, they have a solid core, liquid outer core, and we also have a mantle, right? Terrestrial versus the Jovian. Terrestrial are Earth-like, whereas the Jovian are Jupiter-like. They are rocky, they are gaseous. They are smaller, huge, strong solar wind, lesser solar wind. Therefore, they have thin or no atmosphere. They have very thick atmosphere. The atmosphere is very thick over here. Less number of satellites and more number of satellites. Higher temperature because of their closeness to the sun. They have low temperature. No ring, presence of the rings. All the Jovian planets are having the ring. Between Mars and Jupiter, we have the asteroid belt, right? Therefore, from Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, they have the presence of rings. Speed of rotation is less. The speed of rotation, due to the gravitational pull, it is higher. Reasons behind the presence of the rings. Debris are nothing but a material which is same as that of the satellites. They came very close to the planet. When planet and then the satellite comes, this, let us assume the orbit of the satellite, right? Somewhat like a elliptical orbit. When the satellite comes very close to the planet, due to the gravitational pull of the planet, there is debris. They are not big enough to form another satellite, right? And the gravitational force of spinning, they form a ring. Mercury is the smallest and it is having no atmosphere. Venus is the Earth's twin. It's 95% of the atmosphere is CO2. It is the brightest object in the sky, plus it is the planet with the highest temperature is Venus. Earth is a blue planet, density is highest. Venus is having temperature as highest, and then Earth is having the density as highest. Earth is having density is highest. So the Mars is a red planet. Existence of the water in the form of a liquid form. So we'll be having the water in the liquid is what we have the red planet. Earth is a blue planet, and Venus is a Earth's twin, and it is a brightest, and it is a hot planet. So Venus is a hot planet. Earth is a blue planet. Mars is a red planet, and there is existence of the water in the liquid form. Goldilocks zone is a zone where there can be existence, there life can exist. life exists. Such Goldilocks zone is between Earth and then Mars. Highest chances of survival is what we have, the Goldilocks zone. Largest planet of our solar system is the Jupiter. Jupiter is a heavier planet. It is 11 times the sun size of the weight mass of the Earth. Giant red spot in the Jupiter may be because of a spinning cyclic storm 400 years before has created a giant red spot. This is because of a spinning cyclonic storm, and the storm is 400 years before. Twice that size of the Earth is where the giant red spot. Right. Saturn has a ring, spectacular ring. Lightest planets of all the solar systems is Saturn. The density of the Saturn is less than the water. Earth is having the highest density, right? Lightest planet of all is going to be the Saturn. Saturn is the lightest planet. The lightest planet here is Saturn. Now the densest planet is the Earth. Now Uranus and then Neptune. Saturn is the lightest planet. Densest planet is the Earth. Uranus and Neptune are having similar in size. All the planets rotate and revolve, right? The Uranus rotates and rolling on its orbit. It is not revolving, it is rolling. Rolling is Uranus, and we have Venus is from east to west, and they are rotating in the clockwise direction, whereas other planets rotate from west to east. That is why sun rises in the east for other planets. Venus, the tilt is 177 degrees Celsius and 98 degrees Celsius. That is why they rotate from east to west. Both Uranus and Venus rotates from east to west. Since their axis is tilted above 90 degrees, this is called as retrograde. West to east is what we call it as a retrograde. So retrograde is nothing but the west to east. Prograde is west to east. Retrograde is east to west. Okay, so we have learned two terms. Retrograde is nothing but east to west. West to east is what we call it as the prograde. Revolution is same for all the other planets. They are in counterclockwise direction only. Neptune is not visible through naked eyes. So Jupiter is the largest planet and Uranus is going to be the lightest planet. Uranus is the lightest planet. Densest is going to be the Earth. Hottest is Venus. Red planet is Mars. Now we can say that the twin of the Uranus is Neptune. Saturn is having the rings, right? Saturn is the lightest planet. Saturn is the lightest planet of all. Uranus rotation, specialty of Uranus is rotation. Retrograde is a name of the rotation is retrograde and then prograde, right? Retrograde and then we have the prograde. Now, after the Neptune, there is a belt of small rocky planets, dwarf planets. After the dwarf planets, we have Kuiper belt, belt of remnants of the planets. Kuiper belt is nothing but the belt of remnant planets. It is having the remnant planets. This is what we call it as a Kuiper belt. Beyond the Kuiper belt, we have Oort cloud. So the sun, and then we have the Neptune, and the Neptune and is 30 astronomical units. Neptune and then we have the Kuiper belt is 70 astronomical unit. Now Oort cloud is present 50,000 astronomical unit. 1 astronomical unit is the distance between the sun and the earth, which is 150 million kilometer. Right? Can you imagine? We have the sun. and then Earth is 1 astronomical unit. Now we have 30 astronomical unit in total from Sun to Neptune, right? 30 astronomical unit from Sun to Kuiper belt. We have 100 astronomical unit from Sun to Oort cloud. Oort cloud we have 50,000 astronomical unit. This is the astronomical unit, is the distance, and 1 astronomical unit is 150 million kilometers. Now Voyager 1 and 2 heliopass after Oort cloud is where the sun's gravity exists, and after Oort cloud we have the heliopass, right? Voyager 1 and 2 is outside our solar system till the heliopass. The sun also spins from west to east. As other planets, the spinning nebula origin rotates from west to east. Nebula has rotated from west to east. Satellites are the orbits the planets, right? Saturn has the highest number of satellites, right? Titan is the largest, second largest in our solar system. The possibility of life existence. It has its own atmosphere and layer of liquid below the surface. Now Jupiter has the satellites is Io, Europa, Ganymede, Chaos. These four discovered by Galileo through telescope. Uranus satellite is named after Shakespeare play Miranda Oberon. Neptune satellite is Triton. All the satellites rotate in the same direction, but Titan rotates in the opposite direction of the Neptune. Satellites do not originate from the same cloud of the planet. Came from the foreign body, it got stuck due to the gravitational force of the Neptune. External body came into the orbit of the Neptune. Pluto is also having a satellite. First satellite is called as Charon. It is almost the same size of the Pluto, therefore it is called as twin of Pluto. So the satellite of Pluto is called as Charon. It is same size of the Pluto. So therefore it is also called as twin of the Pluto. What is a dwarf planet? In order to become a planet, there is certain conditions. It must have an orbit around the sun and an own orbit which is independent and enough mass to achieve hydrostatic equilibrium, a spherical shape, right? And it is clear neighborhood, any big body in its equivalent size to its closest vicinity. Enough mass to achieve hydrostatic equilibrium is a spherical shape. Not spherical, no stability. Therefore, big mass is required to be spherical in shape. Should not be present. Example, Pluto, Charon. A similar equivalent body of same mass, a big body of equivalent size should not be present at its vicinity, and it should have its own orbit. Pluto is not having no clear neighborhood. Plus, its satellite size is same, enough gravity to clear its neighborhood. Ceres is surrounded by debris. It is a dwarf planet. So the example of the dwarf planet are Ceres and Pluto are dwarf planet. In 2006, the International Astronomical Unit said the conditions to be declared as a planet. It should have its own orbit, enough mass, clear neighborhood. Clear enough mass is for having a spherical shape. For stability. No major bodies of comparable size as well as cosmic debris. Kuiper belt and Oort cloud are remnants of planets with frozen gases, rocks and debris. Pluto is 40 astronomical units. Now we see about the asteroid belt. This when large pieces of the rocks. So we say here the large pieces of the rocks are asteroids. Y zone of the asteroid belt is between Mars and the Jupiter. The entire material under the asteroid belt is not sufficient to form one big planet, very near to the gravitational pull of the Jupiter. Therefore, it did not concentrate to form a new planet, big planet. The entire material is even though enough, but they are under the influence of the gravitational pull of Jupiter, prevented the mass to form a single body. Now, we have to see related to moon, the changing phases of the moon. We always see only one side of the moon. This is because So okay, we always see one side of the moon, not the another side of the moon. It's called as a dark side of the moon. Dark doesn't mean that it lacks light. Dark means we never saw that another side of the moon, right? This is because the rotation, it is rotating, right? The rotation and the revolution, this is because the rotation and revolution of the moon is same. So this is because the rotation and revolution of the moon, so the rotation and the revolution of the moon is same. Period of rotation of the moon is the period of revolution around the moon. Now, asteroid belt, some of the rocky materials come out of the belt towards, they move towards Jupiter or the Mars. Some bodies come to the Earth also, or other planets. So when they are out of the asteroid belt, they are called as D, day off, or they are out, right? So let us remember this as D, right? Day off. So when an asteroid is ending in D, right? So asteroid, it is out of the asteroid belt. When an asteroid comes out of the asteroid belt, it is called as meteoroid. When this meteoroid enters the Earth's atmosphere, friction with the Earth's atmosphere, therefore it starts catching the fire, right? Meteoroid is when it is outside the asteroid belt. When it is outside the asteroid belt, we call it as meteoroid. Now, when it is entering the Earth's atmosphere and it catches fire, meteoroid catches fire and it becomes meteor, right? Meteoroid has catched fire. The big asteroids or meteors fall under the Earth. Fall under the Earth is meteorite. Some bodies explode due to the gravity. It's called bolide. Asteroids are small and rocky and metallic objects which are the remnants of the planet material and orbits the sun in a zone between Mars and Jupiter. Meteorites are asteroids which have come out of the belt and is moving towards the Earth. Meteor is a flash of light due to the burning of the meteoroid in the Earth's atmosphere. It is also called a shooting star. When it has passed through the Earth's atmosphere, it is called as meteorite. Meteor is when it catches fire, right? Shooting star. It is also called as a shooting star. When it catches fire, it is called as shooting star. Now it crosses the Earth's, it has passed through the Earth's atmosphere. It is called as meteorite. It has passed the Earth's atmosphere. So it has passed the Earth's atmosphere. It is known as the meteorite. It has passed the Earth's atmosphere. It is called as meteorite. Bolide is when meteorite explodes in the air. In air itself it is exploding. It's called as bolide. Comet is the frozen material. This is from the Kuiper belt or it is from the Oort cloud, right? The frozen material, it gets a longer tail. It becomes longer the closer it comes to the sun. The tail is always directed away from the sun. It is nothing but an ion or a gas. Tail points straight away from the sun. The dust tail, we say it curves towards the orbital path. Has very elongated orbit around the sun. So it has frozen, and then we have the comet is then very elongated. Solar wind pushes the molten material away in the direction of the sun. The closer to the sun it melts and develops a tail which is elongated. The tail in the opposite direction. Tail is gaseous debris. It's called as a comet. The tail is coma, and then we have the comet. It's frozen rocky metallic material and gaseous frozen with very elongated orbit around the sun. The gas and the dust surrounding the core rocky material is called as a gas which is surrounding the core is called as coma. The tail of the comet is longer as it comes closer to the sun. tail becomes longer as it comes closer to the sun, right? It is always pointed away from the sun due to the solar wind which pushes it away. It originates from the Kuiper belt and Oort cloud. Halley pop in 1997. 2020 we had comet novice. Eclipse is to block something from the view, right? So when we have the earth's shadow in the moon, it is called as a lunar eclipse, whereas the sun is blocked by the moon and we can see it. It is called as a solar eclipse. Now when moon's shadow then it casts over the sun, right, as well as the earth. So umbra is the region, penumbra surrounding it. Eclipse is an event when one heavenly body moves into the shadow of another. Solar eclipse. Moon is blocking the light of the sun from reaching the earth. It casts a shadow on the earth. The moon's orbit around the earth is tilted and it not block the sun every month. Equinox is a position when all are in the same line. It happens twice a year. Only twice a year. Solar eclipse, right? The solar eclipse is of two types: total solar eclipse, partial solar eclipse, annular eclipse, right? Umbra is a region where the moon is completely blocking the sun. The portion where the position on the earth where the moon is, see, when you are watching from here, sun is entirely blocked from moon, but when you are watching from a distance, it is not so. So in the earth, only in the certain positions in the earth we can see that the earth has completely, moon has completely blocked the sun. In remaining positions we may see that partially. So the remaining is called as a, some part of the sun is blocked, is called as penumbra. So we have the difference between umbra and penumbra. Partial blockage. Beyond umbra and penumbra we cannot see the eclipse. Therefore viewing of eclipse is only at certain regions. Umbra is the darker shadow of the moon or any blocking body which causes a total eclipse. Penumbra is the lighter shadow causing partial eclipse. Total eclipse is the entire photosphere is blocked. We see chromosphere is red edges and then we see the corona. So we have the total eclipse is when the entire photosphere is blocked. Entire photosphere is blocked in the total eclipse, right? In the partial eclipse we call it as the penumbra. Chromosphere or corona is not visible, so there is a partial eclipse, right? Annular eclipse is when the moon is not able to cover the entire sun. The moon is within the sun, it covers entirely, is called as a total eclipse. It covers partially, it is not able to cover the entire sun. The moon is within the sun. This is at the perihelion position. When you are very close to the sun we have the total eclipse, and annular eclipse is in the apogee position. Apogee is with respect to the moon, right? When the moon is near to the earth we call it as apogee, and when the moon is far away from the earth we call it as the perigee. When the moon is nearer to the earth we have total eclipse. When the moon is far away from the earth we have the annular eclipse. So we have the total eclipse and then we have the annular eclipse, right? The types of eclipse is total eclipse, partial eclipse, and then we have annular eclipse. Moon, when it is closer to the earth, it appears bigger. So we call it as a perigee. Whereas the moon, when it is far away from the earth, apogee. It is a smaller moon. It leaves a ring around photosphere. Here also we couldn't see the chromosphere and corona. But during the total eclipse, we are not able to see the photosphere, but we are able to see the chromosphere and corona. Hybrid eclipse is when some part is visible as annular and some part as total eclipse. Lunar eclipse is when the earth is in the middle and the shadow of the earth is in the moon. We have umbra and then we have the penumbra, right? Entire moon passes through. Full shadow is in the umbra region, partial shadow is penumbra region. Some parts of the sun rays are passing through the edge of the earth and it scatters and falls on the Moon, red, longer distance. Red is total lunar eclipse and a red moon. Right. It is a total lunar eclipse. Partial lunar eclipse is partial umbra, partial penumbra. Side sunlight is visible. During the full moon, we visible only half moon, so it is not a crescent. Even during the full moon we have only a half moon over here. It is partial lunar eclipse. In the total lunar eclipse, but due to the reflection of the sun, we get red moon, right? We get red moon. Penumbral lunar eclipse. Penumbra is a lighter shadow. The moon is penumbra. Some of the sunlight passes through the moon, still we have full moon. Now we have the total solar eclipse, where the sun is completely blocked by the moon and it is visible only from the regions on umbra on the earth. Partial is partial blocked at the penumbra region. Annular, moon is farthest from the sun and does not block the entire sun. It creates a ring of fire. Lunar eclipse is when the earth becomes in between the sun and the moon, blocking the light from the sun, which has supposed to reflected by the moon, causing the earth's shadow fall on the moon. Total lunar eclipse is when the moon completely shadowed by the earth and only the light from the earth's atmosphere reaches the moon, which is only the red light resulting in the blood moon. It is when the moon lies in the complete umbra. Partial is on the penumbra region. It is a full moon, but only a crescent is visible because partially located in the umbra and the rest in the penumbra, resulting in partial blockage of the moon. Penumbral lunar eclipse is when it is located in the penumbra, it is completely in the penumbra, appears darker than the usual full moon. Supermoon is a full moon nearest to the position of the earth, right? So full moon at the perigee is what we call it as the full moon. Blue moon is the second full moon of the month. In a month itself, when we are getting two times, because 27 days is the cycle of the moon, right? So blue moon is when there are full moon second time. Blood moon is total solar eclipse. So what is called a super moon? It is big, right? So full moon in the nearest position of the earth, and blue moon twice. Blood moon, lunar eclipse, total lunar eclipse. All the three happened as super blue blood moon. Solar eclipse. Why we should not see solar eclipse directly? Naturally, the pupil is having an adjustable mechanism. It is enlarged during the darkness and the sunlight is very small, right? The total solar eclipse sunlight is blocked entirely. The pupil dilates, it becomes large. View sudden directly, anytime the sun could come out, the sudden huge amount of sunlight which can damage the eyes. Now, solar eclipse is not safe to view, whereas we have the lunar eclipse is safer to view. And a solar eclipse is during the new moon, that is black, no moon day, new moon day, right? Whereas the lunar eclipse is during the full moon day, whereas the full moon, when it is blood, it is called as total lunar eclipse. And if it is in the full moon, but if it is in the crescent shape, it is called as partial lunar eclipse. And penumbral lunar eclipse, it is in the penumbra. Full moon must be brighter, but it is way darker than the usual full moon. This is during the daytime and this is during the night time. It is shorter in duration, whereas this is longer in duration. Heliosphere we know, and heliopause. Heliopause is when the sun's gravitational pull ends, and heliosphere is the entire area, right? Sun and the entire influence of the sun and its gravitational forces.